Hello, guys, and welcome to Starbound. This is going to be a conversational series with my buddy.
What do I call Jutsu 316?
Him, and this series is just going to be about various topics throughout each episode. So for this one, we've got: does the way you play your character reflect you?
So basically, what this comes from is, does the way your character reflect you? There's a lot of talk out there, how, it's just a game. You can do whatever you want in your game. It doesn't reflect anything of what you do in real life. So how this came about was from a popular anime called Sword Art Online. And midway through the first season, there's the main character and then like a side character, which is his sister. And basically, they're about to go into this place after working together to get there. She acted as a guide for him. And she basically said, before you go in here, you kind of need to get some more experience and beef up. So he's like, you can just go ahead and kill me before you go in there. Like, I don't understand. And his big little quote there was, I don't do that. She's like, well, it's just a game. He says, no. The character and the player are one and the same. And I kind of took to that. So, let's talk about that. So, just like your diet, your friends, everything you do is a reflection of yourself, in my opinion, in my belief, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
You eat junk food, your body's going to be junk. You know what I mean? You hang around bad friends, it's going to give you bad character.
Yeah.
So, we'll start with the basics, like Skyrim. There's three main classes: warrior, thief, mage. I particularly like little bits and pieces of every one, but my always go-to is normally a two-handed heavy armor warrior, because I get tired of light armor, and and a lot of times I'm not good with the spells. And being a martial artist, more physical combat type of guy, not like I'm a black belt crazy guy or whatever, but like I'm more comfortable in a lot of the dodging and swinging and like kind of translating reflexes into my game.
Right.
Especially games like Fair Play, Vindictus, Guild Wars, any type of game where there's a lot of dodging. I'm typically, at least for my level of gaming, I do alright with that, so it's kind of more my comfort zone, so I typically go with the warrior. Right.
I think I'm more typically like the rogue, or kind of a stealthy type character. Generally, I don't like getting up close in combat. If I can avoid it, I'm taking them from range. So that's typically how I like to play.
Yeah, I always try and do that first. Like, to me, it's the smartest, safest way to do it. Like, if I was in the military, I'd rather be a sniper. Mm-hmm. Back in the day, I'd rather be an archer. Even like games like Dragon Age, Inquisition, I prefer to hit vital points, stuff like that, but a lot of times I do it in a very offensive way, and I always end up kind of like, alright, he's about to do it, whip out the sword. And we play a lot of airsoft, and I always like trying sniping, but I'm an aggressive sniper, like I'm just behind the crew. So
yeah, I
have any capture the flag stuff, I'm just like, forget that crap, just straight into it.
Okay. So yeah, our personalities and our character kind of intermingle with how we play, and definitely our actions are reflected in what we do. Does your personality come through in decision type games?
Yeah, examples being Mass Effect, Dragon Age. You can you have like Dragon Age, you have sometimes up to 6 different choices on what you're trying to be. Trying to be a tough guy, more reserved, wise, whatever. Walking Dead, especially where the game's characters respond to how you do things.
Yeah.
I've seen playthroughs of Walking Dead and all types of gaming. A lot of it, it comes through is like, I'm typically the guy that likes to give people a chance, try and help people out, risk it, and that's kind of how I do things in real life. Sometimes it doesn't work
similar.
out. Yeah.
I think in games like that give your character a choice in what to do and how, games that also give you moral choices.
Yeah.
I'm generally more the person to go around the route of helping people, but there are there are times when I've tried to play games and tried to go the evil route, and that is just really hard for me to do.
I just can't do it.
Yeah, it's just it works okay for about 20 minutes, and then I just break down and feel bad, and I gotta go the good route again, and then I eventually strike a balance in neutral. Is the best I can do.
Like, I just can't do it. I don't care if I'm playing D&D,
Yeah.
anything. Just like, I just can't. Because it does, I believe it does bleed into how you are a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
One of the best things was, if you've ever read Screw Tape Letters by C.S. Lewis, he wanted to write, if you don't know what that is, please read it, regardless if you believe. But at the end, so the whole book, he writes letters from the perspective of demons trying to battle God, over in the War of Souls.
Yeah.
So he gets to the end of the book, and at least the one I bought, it wrote that he wanted to do another one, but he couldn't stand being in that mindset any longer.
Yeah.
And I've seen a Let's Play of Walking Dead, and one thing that's really unsettling to me, the guy was really determined to kill Duck, which is one of the redneck's sons.
Mm-hmm.
And any chance he could trip that kid when they're running and all this kind of stuff, let him go do the scout missions by himself.
Yeah.
He wanted to do it. And there's a point, I don't know, episode 3 or 4, off of the train, he starts turning into a zombie. And typically I would let the dad do it. It's the hardest way to do it. I'd let the dad, end him before he turned it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's like kind of common sense. The kid's going, you let the dad do it.
Yeah. Well, he is like basically screaming at the screen, "Give me the gun, give me the gun." As soon as a scenario pops up, he can choose the option to kill the kid first glance. And people are like, "Yo, you need to kind of chill with that stuff." And back to the thing, he comments back to people, "Yo, it is just a game." But is it really? So, do games influence people? Obviously the biggest one are kids.
Yeah. I'd say, yeah. Games do influence people to a degree. I think mostly it's definitely younger children.
Yeah.
But I would say they do.
Key word is influence.
Mm-hmm.
We don't, at least me, I don't believe nothing makes anybody do anything that matters. A gun to your head or you're playing a game.
Mm-hmm.
But ideas can be planted. So games be influenced? Yes, there are kids. There's kids that have been on the news. They played Slender Man. They took a girl out to the woods, did some slender crap, stabbed her a bunch of times. They didn't have the strength to really get through, so she survived. The young girl of the two, of the three. Yeah, there's 2 of them tried doing it, but they did that because they loved the Slender Man game. And then there's been a few stories where it's actually gone all the way.
I think that has a lot to do with how you're raised.
Yeah.
I see a lot of times now where kids are just left with a tablet, and then that's it. They're not shoved outside, or they're not made to be social with different people. And you go in a grocery store and see a little kid, you'll see him on a phone or a tablet. So I don't think the way kids are being raised is changing. Some people aren't doing it very well, others are. But the influence of games is definitely there. It depends on how it's being implemented.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, it's in kids and adults and news. Anytime there's a violent game played in their past, they, drag it in there.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, it's just knowing the difference. I mean, there's an episode of CSI where that happened, and they did a whole thing. It was about this first-person shooter. Obviously, the one in real world, the biggest one was Call of Duty, but they kind of made up some BS one in the show, and he went along with it, played out the whole objectives of the game, killing people, torturing them, raping them, and it's like it's kill or be killed, and just kind of the whole type of series. And I'd say it does influence people. I mean, you play enough GTA, you play enough Postal, you play enough bad guy on any game, and you're gonna have the ideas if somebody pisses you off. And a lot of times it's always go to like, oh, I'd never do that. Like, it's just a game. Well, if you were in that world, like it was a GTA world, you can just go get 2 stars, go to jail, and be out the next day.
Yeah.
What would you do? Because I've heard a lot of people, man, or there's a few people that I've met that in eye for an eye society, I would be a little scared.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think those type of people that love to play those games in an eye for an eye, lawless world one day is that's when it's like all that, they let it out through the game, and laws is what kind of keeps them confined. So
yeah. As far as the lawless society, I think maybe it does, because, and not because video games, but because
of the person.
Because of human nature in general.
Yeah.
I think in general, society would just break down into chaos if one day the world became a lawless society.
I think the closest to reality would be like a purge society from the movie The Purge. Yeah. And
I think the fact that we like playing violent video games could show that, but I don't think video games are the cause by any means.
Yeah.
Because if we didn't already have that violent nature, I don't think violent video games would be as popular as they even are.
Yeah.
So, maybe not.
Alright, and this leads to the last point of this, is can a single thought, just a general thought, good or bad, lead to action? From my point of view, yes. I mean, nothing is overnight. Nothing comes out of nowhere. To create a flame, you need an ember. So to create an action, it had to be an idea.
Yeah, I'd agree. I would also say, yeah. I don't think any action is really... I don't think any action happens before a thought.
Yeah.
Right? You gotta have that thought before you do anything.
There's a few instances where, maybe crime of passion or a quick self-defense where one of you ends up dying, but, where, like, you just get jumped, the next thing you know, you punch him in the throat, and, like, you suffocate. It's like, oh, didn't mean to happen.
Right.
It is what it is, but pretty much 99% of the time, I mean, you can't do anything without first thinking about it.
Yeah.
Which is good and bad. Pretty much any type of murder, the way that you try and act towards people act towards people in general, it's pretty much like a pre-thought out plan. And a lot of, they kind of try and throw that to the side. I guess in a lot of court cases these days, or throughout history, somebody would just kill somebody. Oh, it's simply in his nature. Well, in that case, everybody be free to go. But, like,
right.
There is a part where, like, it don't matter if you're in nature or not. Like, well, it's anything. Yeah, like I said, murder. A lot of times, porn addicts. The biggest ones, Ted Bundy. He obviously killed a lot of women and then did horrible things. His influence was violent pornography, and then eventually he started slowly building up. It's like predetermined type of deal. Just looking at things, maybe raped a girl twice and then started killing them. It's just like this short story where this king's son really wanted to kill his dad, but he started building up. So he killed like a little puppy, and he killed a bird, and then he killed a cow, then he killed a horse, and he did it to build himself up to take a human life. And so sometimes that's how it happens. Sometimes it's a lot of thinking and you do it. But I personally think a single thought will lead to action. I mean, it's kind of, you can't have one without the other.
Yeah, I'd agree. Alright, that's pretty much it for this topic. If you guys enjoyed this conversational video, leave a like, subscribe if you want to see more. The next episode is going to be Zombie Apocalypse. So stay tuned for that, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See ya!
Veronica, I hope...
I brought you a present. This gift has secret secreting plants that can thrive in the wasteland.
High Elder Maxon didn't found us to be botanists.
A giant? What the heck is going on over there?